Thanks for that, brother Ed. Oh, so um, the um, the title of my talk is "Grand Designs of Life," and I was kind of inspired by the solar eclipse that we witnessed at the start of April. I started doing like there was a bunch of hype about it, and people were traveling all over the place to try and see it and stuff. And there's a bit of controversy going around. I think I heard this story that some bed and breakfasts up on the East Coast that had been booked out 8 months ago cancelled the reservations and then relisted them so that they could get a higher price for the accommodation because obvious people that had planned ahead and like, yeah, we're going to book out this hotel so we can see the eclipse. And then when the accommodation realized they could get 4 times as much, they cancelled the reservation and relisted it, which is not very ethical, but it just shows what people will do. But anyway, going off the topic, the solar eclipse. Um, as I remember, the last time we saw one was back in 2017, I believe. And funnily enough, that was also a Monday. And I was actually off work both Mondays to witness the eclipses, as it turns out. So I remember the last one, I'd like got called out on Sunday night. I worked all night Sunday and then uh got to have Monday off, and I woke up and it was in the middle of the eclipse and it was like surreal, and it's kind of like it wasn't I don't think it was a total eclipse, but it was like it was dark. It was just it's kind of like uh, yeah, it's like it's almost like I was in the woke up and I was in the twilight zone. But just some interesting facts about the eclipse. So, a total solar eclipse will take place at the moon's ascending node on Monday, April 8th, 2024, visible across North America and dubbed the Great North American Eclipse, also the Great American Total Solar Eclipse. Um, the solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the Earth and the Sun, thereby obscuring the image of the Sun for a viewer on the Earth. A total solar eclipse occurs when the moon's apparent diameter is larger than the sun's, blocking all direct sunlight, turning day into darkness. Totality occurs only in a narrow path across the Earth's surface, with partial solar eclipse visible over a surrounding region thousands of kilometers wide, occurring only one day after perigee. The moon's apparent diameter will be 5.5% larger than average, with a magnitude of 1.0566. Its longest duration of totality will be 4 minutes and 28 seconds near the Mexican town of Nazaces, Durango. The eclipse will be the first total solar eclipse to be visible in the provinces of Canada since February 26, 1979, the first in Mexico since July 11th, 1991, and the first in the United States since August 21, 2017. It will be the only total solar eclipse in the 21st century where totality will be visible in Mexico and the US and Canada. It will also be the last total solar eclipse visible in the contiguous United States until August 23rd, 2044. Earth is also the only rocky planet that has total solar eclipses. Venus and Mercury don't have moons, and Mars's two moons are too small and not at the right distance to completely block out the disk of the sun. Our solar system's four gas giant planets, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune, have moons that are the right size and distance, but because they don't have a solid surface to stand on, it would be tough to see an eclipse from the surface of the planet. It's also the only planet within the narrow band around the sun known as the continuously habitable zone, which is defined as the region in which liquid water can stay on a planetary surface for long periods of time. While other planets and moons may have frost or oceans of liquid methane, only Earth has oceans and lakes of water. Because of this, Earth is the only object in the solar system on which we know life exists. So some pretty interesting stuff there, but basically, uh, out of all the planets in the solar system, Earth is the only planet that is capable of supporting life, and also the only planet that we can view a solar eclipse and see the effects of it. And if you look at if you start thinking about all of the variables that that come together when planets form, if anything was just if there wasn't that we were missing some elements, or the earth was bigger, or like the moon was smaller, if the moon was bigger, if we were further away from the sun, like all of these things, one thing changes and then none of this works. And it's just, you can tell just by like, if you think about it, just if you kind of grasp like what had to happen for us to be here today, you can just that it's not by accident. We'll just start off in Genesis chapter 1. It's going to be long when we're starting in Genesis chapter 1. um in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and that God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Then God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Thus God made the firmament, and it divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and so the evening and the morning were the second day. Then God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together in one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And then God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit, and the tree that yields fruit, according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth." And it was so. Um, just going through the creation, and it's shown here that the Lord had to form it out of something that it started as nothing. I was just trying to expand to get a bit more understanding, so I can read it for you out of the Amplified. We'll start in um, yeah, okay, we'll go carry on in verse 14. I'll just read from the Amplified. Then God said, "Let there be light bearers, sun, moon, and stars, in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be useful for signs, tokens of God's provident care, and for marking seasons, days, and years. Let them be useful as lights in the expanse of the heavens to provide light on earth." And it was so, just as he commanded. And God made the two great lights, the greater light the sun to rule the day, and the lesser light the moon to rule the night. He made the galaxies, stars also, that is, all the amazing wonders in the heavens. God placed them in the expanse of the heavens to provide light upon earth, to rule over the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. God saw that it was good, and he affirmed and sustained it. And there was evening and there was morning, a fourth day. And there's lots of theories in the scientific community about how the earth came to be and how we came here, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how it happened. The fact that it did happen and that we have the evidence to show that God created it. It was an intentional design and not something that happened by accident. Um, just the organization of the solar system, the stars, the moon, everything happened just for us to be here. Like the moon gives us the tides, the sun gives us light, and it's interesting that uh, we can't function in darkness. Like I remember um, when I was a kid, we were on vacation and visiting my parents in New Zealand, and I woke up with jet lag, and we had these blackout curtains, and the room was so dark I couldn't see my hand in front of my face, and that's even trying to adjust and everything, and it's just it we weren't designed to work like that. And I think as it turns, I walked into a door because I got confused because I couldn't see it, but and that's the kind of darkness that existed before God created everything. That suffocating darkness that we just nothing could function in. And I'll go to, I didn't write down the book, but I think it's in Exodus. It's talking about Moses. Uh, I couldn't tell you what chapter, but verse 21. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, and there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand towards heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all of the land of Egypt for 3 days. And they saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And that's the the power of the Lord was able to perform that miracle for Moses. And like that's the imagine living like that for 3 days and not being able to see like the darkness, where if you light something and it's just the darkness just consumes the light. It's um pretty powerful stuff. We'll just go over to Joshua chapter 10, verse 12. Then Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel, and he said in the sight of Israel, sun, stand still over Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still and the moon stopped, till the people had revenge upon their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of the heaven and did not hasten to go down for about a whole day. And there had been no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to the camp at Gilgal. So you have Joshua fighting the Amorites, and he called upon the Lord to do this great miracle. And it's only the Lord that can make that happen, because he is the creator, the designer, the master of all, and only he has the power to hold the sun still in the heavens for a day. And like I said, it's the only it's the first time it's ever happened, and it's the last time it's ever happened. But it's an amazing miracle that we can look at to see that uh, the Lord commands the power over everything that we have, and that He designed this. Everything we interact with in nature, there's just evidence of it. And I could, go on with all the many examples of the evidence of creation versus evolution debate, but just looking at the stars in the heavens and the solar eclipse is just a really like people see it for like on its face value as like a phenomenon, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, but if you think about it, like how did it really come to be that it could happen so that the moon would completely block out and that you would have darkness, like total darkness in the daylight? And that's just um a really amazing reminder of the Lord's power and how he came to be here. So I'd like to leave those thoughts there. Man. And over to Brother Bobby.